Since the Ranger update, I've had this thought that Ashes of Creation has too many skill options. Now, I don't mean skill abilities. I actually really do enjoy that because I think that's going to allow us to play in several different ways because of the different things that we can spec into. I'm talking about the weapon skills. Back in December, we saw the weapon skill tree for the first time during the updated Ranger showcase, and since then, we've seen it twice more. Once with the fighter showcase and again with the Midnight Magic showcase with the wand. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is insane. We literally have so many choices to choose from. Let's break down how many options we have from what we currently know. In terms of weapons, we have axes, bows, clubs, daggers, hammers, lances, maces, orbs, polearms, halberds, scepters, spears, spellbooks, staves, swords, and wands.
This is amazing! I feel incredible!
There are a few weapons on that list that have variants, right? The one-handed, two-handed, etc. For example, back in the Ranger showcase, we saw the weapon skill tree for the short bow, meaning there is a weapon skill tree for the long bow. Let's put that aside though and focus on the base weapon and not the variants. If we do that, then we have 15 different weapon types in Ashes of Creation, which means we'll have 15 different weapon skill trees. Now, stay with me because it gets cooler. If we go back to the Midnight Magic showcase, during the stream, we find out that there are 7 different ways to customize your wand. This ranges from the length of your combo, finisher attacks, you name it. Now, I don't think we're going to have 7 different ways to customize every single weapon in their respective skill tree, but this right here already adds 7 more ways to play. What about all of the weapons that we haven't seen yet? What if we actually get more weapons in a future live stream and there are more ways to play and customize your playstyle? What does that do for the game? I think there are a few things that pop up with us being in a situation like this. One being that we have so much customization. So it's possible that things will never get old and players will continue to explore different options, or we have too many options and players are going to do whatever works best for their class because they have seen someone else do it, which does happen. When it comes to having so much customization, I think it's very easy, especially in an MMO, for players to get overwhelmed. If players are overwhelmed, would they really look into playing their class in a different way from everyone else? If you think about the commitment that Ashes of Creation is telling us we'll need pushing forward, it's not going to be easy. Hence, this is why Steven is always talking about risk versus reward. If we take nodes alone, getting a Metro node is going to take months starting from ground zero. When it comes to the player base, how many active players are going to be hardcore, or how many plan on innovating and looking into their weapon skill tree on their already limited time schedule, right? Because class building takes up a lot of time. What usually happens when people are looking for builds, even if they're a hardcore player? They look for the most optimal way to play because this works and it gets the content done. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. I'm simply stating what happens in current games / MMOs and what will possibly happen in Ashes of Creation. I don't think Ashes of Creation having all of these skill tree options is necessarily a bad thing, but I do think if the weapon skill tree isn't done in a way that's going to encourage players to play differently from others who are sticking to a certain playstyle and continuously getting the content done, then it could possibly be for naught. Now, on the positive side of that same coin, I think having a lot of different ways to play is a great way to keep your game healthy and alive. Many of us do get tired of doing the same thing over and over in the same way.
Coming to bed, honey?
Yes, dear.
Especially if you have one main game. To me, it seems like the many different customization options in the skill tree are going to be great for players who are putting in the time as hardcore players. we'll probably see a lot of those players messing around with all of the different options for a few reasons. Despite players copying builds and not searching for their own, there will always be a percentage of players that go off to find a new way to play their class. These are the people that go on to make what we know as the metas and game. To that point though, how often are people going to be doing that? The biggest concern that I have is that Intrepid is working super hard on all of these different variations, and it's possible that most of them could never be touched. It falls in line with the conversation about augments. We haven't seen anything recently regarding augments, but if a certain class pairs far better with a secondary compared to its other 7 choices, why would we want to use them? I think it'd be dope if certain combinations for weapon skills and augments were viable for different pieces of content. To be clear, I don't think having all of these options are a bad thing. And as a bard that we're hopefully gonna see in June, Steven, please, I'm going to try out everything and see what works the best for my class, but I'm also interested in seeing what will be fun to play. I think with Alpha 2 coming up, we are literally going to have nothing but time. So that's going to be the perfect place to do those things. We haven't seen every single system and aspect of Ashes of Creation just yet. So I'm sure there's going to be more to explore. I just hope it doesn't get to a place where it's too much and overwhelming for the players. We should be seeing Node Wars in the next 2 weeks, which I'm excited about. The Midnight Magic Showcase last month was cool, but I think most of us wanted more. So I think this month's live stream will for sure be hype. And if not hype, it'll be more hype than the Lighting Showcase. I'm really hoping we see the Bard right after that in June. And dude, that'll take us out of quarter 2. It's actually insane when we think about it, because after this showcase this month, we only have the June showcase until we're in quarter 3. All in all, I'm very excited about the weapon skill tree, and I won't know if they've given us too many options until we can actually get into Alpha 2 and switch a few things around. I think this will give us something to do during Alpha 2. We have several classes, so that's several different weapon skill trees that we have to mess with, and we can play around until the release of the game. What are your thoughts on the many options that we have for the weapon skill tree? Please let your boy know in the comment section below. I also have an announcement to make at the end of my next video, so stay tuned. I'm really excited for it. We really got to get that Bard showcase in June because this is very Bard-esque, and I think you'll enjoy it. So stay tuned for that in my next video. If you haven't created an Ashes of Creation account yet, feel free to use my link in the description. If you are looking for a Discord or guild to come kick it in, both of those links are in the description. Come kick it with us. We're preparing for Alpha 2. If you want to stay up to date with me, feel free to follow me on X and Twitch, where I stream every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.